ভোটের সময় বিজেপি গুচ্ছ গুচ্ছ প্রতিশ্রুতি দিয়েছিল, কিন্তু তখতে বসার পর আর সেই প্রতিশ্রুতি পালন করছে না। এমনকি দেশের মানুষের কথা চিন্তাও করে না। ভোটকে লক্ষ্য রেখে কেন্দ্র বাজেট বরাদ্দ করেছে বলে সংসদে অভিযোগ করলেন তৃণমূলের সর্বভারতীয় সাধারণ সম্পাদক অভিষেক বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়। কেন্দ্রের বাজেট নিয়ে এদিন সংসদে বক্তব্য রাখতে গিয়ে ডায়মন্ড হারবারের সাংসদ বলেন, কেন্দ্রের এই বাজেট সোনার হরিণের মতো। কেন কথা বলছেন তার ব্যাখ্যাও তুলে ধরেন অভিষেক। ডায়মন্ড হারবারের সাংসদ বলেন, বিহারে বিজেপির 12 জন সাংসদ, বাংলাতেও 12, তবু বাজেটে বিহার পেল, বাংলা পেল না। কারণ বাংলায় বিজেপি ক্ষমতায় আসতে পারেনি, তাই বাংলাকে বঞ্চিত করা হলো। অন্যদিকে সামনে বিহারে বিধানসভার ভোট, ফলে কেন্দ্রের এবারের বাজেট থেকে স্পষ্ট, দেশের মানুষের কথা ভেবে নয়, ভোটকে লক্ষ্য রেখেই মোদী সরকার বাজেট তৈরি করেছে। মোদী সরকারের সবকা সাথ সবকা বিকাশকে তীব্র কটাক্ষ করে শ্লেষের সুরে অভিষেক এও বলেন, কেন্দ্রীয় সরকার ক্ষুধিত শিশুর কথার চেয়ে প্রচার হেডলাইন নিয়ে বেশি ভাবে। কিষাণ ক্রেডিট কার্ড থেকে শুরু করে কর্মসংস্থান, পরিসংখ্যান থেকে তুলে এর পরেই কেন্দ্রের বিরুদ্ধে জনবিরোধী কার্যকলাপের অভিযোগে সরব হন তৃণমূলের সর্বভারতীয় সাধারণ সম্পাদক। অভিষেক বলেন, কিষাণ ক্রেডিট কার্ড চালু করে কৃষকদের সাহায্যের পরিবর্তে ঋণে ডোবাতে চাইছে মোদী সরকার। ভোটের আগে ন্যূনতম সহায়ক মূল্যের প্রতিশ্রুতি দিয়েছিল, তাও পূরণ হয়নি। দেশে কর্মসংস্থানের কোনো ব্যবস্থা হয়নি। দিনকে দিন বেকারত্বের সংখ্যা বেড়েই চলেছে। একই সঙ্গে ক্ষুদ্র শিল্প, স্বাস্থ্য, গ্রামীণ সড়ক যোজনাসহ বিভিন্ন ক্ষেত্রে বাংলা কিভাবে এগিয়ে চলেছে তার পরিসংখ্যান এদিন সংসদে তুলে ধরেন ডায়মন্ড হারবারের সাংসদ। টেনে আনেন নোটবন্দির প্রসঙ্গ। অভিষেকের কথায়, নোটবন্দি থেকে বেকারত্ব এই সরকারের আমলে কোনো প্রতিশ্রুতি পূরণ হয়নি। এদের আমলে গরিব আরও গরিব হয়েছে, ধনী আরও ধনী হয়েছে। এরা সাধারণ মানুষ, বেকার ছেলে মেয়েদের জন্য কিছুই করেনি, ফলে এদের কাছে এসব আশা করা অন্যায়।
Today I rise here not just to respond to the union budget that was presented by the Honourable Finance Minister for the year 2025-26, but also to expose the grand illusion it weaves. A mirage, a deception, or rather a golden deer budget. Well, all of you must be wondering, why am I referring to this budget as a golden deer budget? The 2025 union budget is nothing but a Marich moment from the Ramayana, an elaborate illusion designed to deceive. Just as the demon Marich took the golden form of deer to lure Ma Sita away, the NDA government has crafted a shiny, dazzling budget promising prosperity while hiding the economic catastrophe beneath. This budget might shimmer, but it's hollow as a treasure chest filled with air. It has flashy promises of tax cuts, economic growth, infrastructure hype to distract the common man, but beneath this illusion lies a brutal reality. Hidden indirect taxes, soaring inflation, slashed public spendings, and last but not the least, corporate giveaways. Just as Ma Sita was misled, the common people are being pulled away from financial stability straight into a fiscal wrecking ball. This government proudly proclaims no income tax for incomes up to 12 lakh rupees. But behind the scenes, they silently ensure the lost revenue is recovered through rising fuel prices, inflated service charges, hidden taxes on daily essentials, and the middle class, much like Lakshman warning Ma Sita, is skeptical, but BJP's propaganda and PR machinery is desperately working overtime to ensure that the common man and the people of this country still chase the golden deer anyway. What is given by one hand is being swiftly taken by the other. Just as in Ramayana, by the time people realize and recognize the deception, the economy has already been handed over to the Ravanas of crony capitalism, while the common man is left struggling to afford groceries, fuel, travel, healthcare, and even a simple movie night, all while being taxed for merely just existing. Madam, the budget presented by the NDA government is a masterclass in half-truths, half accountability, half delivery of schemes, and half-hearted governance. From half-built houses under PMAY to half-achieved farmer income targets, the government continues to sell dreams while delivering only fragments of reality. Infrastructure projects remain half-finished, welfare schemes reach half the beneficiaries, and their failed economic policies cater to half the population, leaving the rest in uncertainty. This is not a vision for developed India. It's a half-baked agenda wrapped in propaganda. Make no mistake, much like demonetization, GST, and the draconian farm laws, the full extent of devastation will only be visible when the smoke clears. I'll start with half-truths. So the NDA government in Maharashtra launched the Latki Behan Ma'am, the India government in Maharashtra launched the Ladki Behan DBT scheme for women in Maharashtra just before the assembly elections last year to use it as a political bait. Now with the elections over, they have conveniently started scrutinizing beneficiaries, thus removing 60 lakh women from the scheme. This is yet another jumla running deep in your veins. And people see through this betrayal and they are watching. Another betrayal, ma'am. Before the elections, the government promised a legal guarantee for MSP. After the election, the promise have disappeared without a trace. Madam Finance Minister is here and I'm glad she's present in the House. She in her speech mentioned that, and she began her speech with a flourish on agricultural growth. But when it came to MSP, the one demand that every farmer of this country has raised, there was only silence. No legal guarantee, no relief from the crippling debt. Instead of waiving farm loans, the government has increased the Kisan credit limit, which essentially means handing farmers more debt than relief. Since 2014, and whatever data I'm quoting in the House, if the chair wants, I'll lay it on the table of the House before tonight. Ma'am, since 2014, in the last 10 years, there have been 1 lakh farmer suicide. That's 1 suicide every hour. These aren't just numbers. They're a grim reminder of a system that abandons those who feed the nation while they conveniently feed lies to the entire country. They boasted of digital India, but conveniently ignore the dire state of our schools. While flashy slogans flood social media, the harsh reality is PM Poshan remains stagnant, leaving millions of children without nutritious food. More than 50% of the children under the age of 5 suffer from chronic malnutrition, with 17% underweight, 36% stunted, and 6% wasted. A crisis screaming for attention, and yet the budget for PM Poshan remains dejectedly inadequate, proving once again that the union government is invested more in headlines than hungry children. Another half-truth: before the elections, the NDA government or the ruling party, BJP, promised LPG cylinders for all. But in reality, 1.2 crore households, I repeat the figure, 1.2 crore households could not afford even a single refill in 2022-23 because of their exorbitant price hikes. This is not upliftment. This is abandonment. When people have to choose between a meal and a refill, their promise is nothing but a cruel joke. In 2019, the cabinet approved 8,574 crore for the census. Yet in 2025, today, even after 5 years, only 570 crore has been allocated in this year's budget. 5 years late and still counting. And this is not happening this year either. But why does this matter? Why am I talking about census? Because without a census, every policy, every income tax slab revision, and every economic projection is simply and just a blind projection and a blind gamble. The Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, Women Reservation Act, which was passed by calling a special session 18 months back in 2023, can't be implemented as its rollout depends on the completion of the next census and subsequent delimitation. Both are yet to be scheduled. The government seems to prefer running the country on guesstimates and propaganda rather than real data, because facts expose their failures and they would rather keep the nation in the dark. As we look at the economic policies of the NDA government, one cannot help but see a pattern. And what is the pattern? Ma'am, the pattern is of a, or if I am to say, it resembles the tale of a reverse Robin Hood. What is a reverse Robin Hood? We know the story of Robin Hood, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. BJP has mastered the art of taking from the poor and giving it to the wealthy elite. So reverse Robin Hood. For instance, I'll give you an example. For instance, the waiving of corporate loans worth thousands of crores using taxpayers' money, while poor farmers struggling with small debts are left to suffer. The government claims to have no money to increase subsidies on essential commodities, yet it slashes corporate tax rates, giving billionaires an even bigger slice of the pie. This is not economic justice. This is economic favoritism at its worst. Then I talk about, or rather I'll come to half federalism. You know, all the members sitting in this house have never heard of this phrase. This is a phrase that I've coined. Half federalism. Why I say half federalism? I'll give you another example just to understand it better. Madam, in Bihar, BJP's ally, Janata Dal United or JDU, have 12 seats. That means BJP has 12 MPs in Bihar. And in Bengal, BJP has 12 MPs. BJP is in power in Bihar and BJP is not in power in Bengal. So Bihar gets bonanza, Bengal gets blockade. This is half federalism. Madam, not a single meaningful financial allocation has been made for the state of Bengal. This is a Bangla Birodhi budget. 1.7 lakh crore is still due to the state of West Bengal under various heads. This is a deliberate financial blockade, a calculated move to stifle Bengal's growth, prosperity and development. West Bengal spending due on Manrega to the tune of 7,000 crore still remains unpaid, depriving 59 lakh poor workers. The state has launched Karmashri scheme for providing employment opportunities to job card holders, paying 51 lakh workers from its own funds. The central government has not cleared 8,140 crores in housing dues for rural Bengal under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, depriving 12 lakh beneficiaries. The state government launched the Banglar Bari project last year in the month of December, providing housing to 12 lakh beneficiaries entirely from the state's own funds. Why am I giving you these facts? Because all of you, especially the members sitting in the treasury benches, must know, even though you have deprived West Bengal, the state continues to stand tall as a true testament, an example of Atma Nirbharata, where the mind is without fear, where the head is held high. Chitto jeta bhoy shunno, uchcho jeta shir. While the center withhold funds and play politics with the people of Bengal and their livelihoods, Bengal refuses to beg. We build, we provide, we progress, we grow with or without their support. Bengal has more than doubled its export in the last 10 years. 57 lakh new MSMEs have been added, employing over 1 crore people. Bengal's handloom industry employs over 5 lakh workers, which is the second highest in the country. The state's broadband policy, formulated in 2020, resulted in investment of 7,500 crore in the telecom sector alone. Almost 3 lakh direct employment has been generated in IT companies. Bengal has over 88 lakh MSMEs, which is the second highest in the country. 1 out of 5 MSME are owned by women, which is highest in the country. 36% of workers in these enterprises are female, third highest in the country. Madam, now I'll come to health. India remains one of the lowest healthcare spenders globally, investing a mere 3% of its GDP, far behind China's 5% and United States of America's 16%. For a country of 140 crore people, this level of investment is not just inadequate, it's an outright betrayal of public health. The government has opened floodgates for 100% FDI in insurance, happily inviting foreign profits, but refuses to remove the crushing 18% GST on health insurance. So while the corporates enjoy free rein, the common man is taxed while they are fighting for their own lives. This is not reform. This is a rigged game where the poor and the downtrodden and the common people of the country are deliberately made to lose. Instead of strengthening government hospitals, this government prioritizes private insurance. Models like PMJAY, whose allocations shot up by 29%, essentially funneling public money into corporate pockets. Strengthening public healthcare could have benefited millions, but instead government chose to privatize healthcare under the guise of welfare. And if the government truly cared about public health, why has funding for mental health programs like National Tele-Mental Health Scheme has been slashed by 16%? Why is NIMHANS, which is the country's top health mental institute,